To Andertons TV. You can tell it's a video about Doom things because that's the only genre that we let Oz appear on camera for.
This is true. Yeah, this is true.
Welcome back, Mr. Oz.
Thank you very much.
Doom, as you know, is your specialist subject. Yes, welcome back to Mastermind. Your specialist subject today is Doom music.
Doom.
You have 30 seconds to answer as many questions as you can about Doom.
Pass.
Correct. The concept of today is a 5-amp shootout, basically, for Doom.
Yeah.
But let's go over the ingredients. Why that guitar, that pedal, and why these 5 amps in particular?
Okay, I think we should start with the amps, because that's the first thing. Typically, with doomy, sludgy stuff, people are going for the obvious brands like Sun and at the top level anyway, the bands that everyone likes. You have the Soldanos, you have your old Laney supergroups, you have your old Matt amps, these very vintage, large amplifiers. But you know, any of these amps nowadays are £3,500–4,000 £4,000. The entry into this kind of music is kind of difficult. And of course, you can buy a Boss Katana and you can put a fuzz pedal through it and overload a preamp and it sounds quite sludgy, but I really wanted to take a look at what the best kind of reasonably like loud gigging amplifier that has some fear factor to it, what you have to pay. So all these amps that we have here are under 1,000. I think they're actually under £800, and they're all tube amps, right?
Not including the cab.
Not including the cab.
So we're just talking 3 heads,
so we're just
heads,
talking the heads. So you know, you don't want to pay £3,500 for a Sun. Fine. I think people universally would agree with that unless you've got the money to do that.
Not that people don't want to.
No, of course you want to, but you know,
but
I just wanted to look at these heads and compare them because we have some brands that are, you know, we could say synonymous in the case of the Orange with kind of Doom sludgy stuff. Laney, absolutely, because of the Sabbath, but all for different reasons. I think these were good 5 amps around the same price point to compare and see how they stacked up with this kind of music.
At this point, I shall just interject with how crazy I find it that in 1990, when I started at Andertons, and we were in the old shop, and we used to pile up the second-hand amps that nobody wanted by the front door with like £50 price tickets on it. All of those brands that you mentioned as being synonymous were in the 50 quid pile.
Yeah.
And we almost think we're hypothesizing that the pioneers of Doom would have been kids at that point who only had 50 quid to buy an amp, and that was big and loud and valvey. Yeah. And it's just weird. It's just ironic that you know what you couldn't give away then has become the iconic, super expensive amps,
which is
nowadays
rare in terms of the musical gear, because obviously you know, for such a heavy music genre, such a you know, like viscerally loud music genre, no one's using modern metal amps really. Everyone wants the classic, you know, crunchy, extremely loud amps. You know.
Is anyone that you're aware of in Doom using digital yet?
No.
Do you think it's like the last bastion then, or like Doom and Blues of just being sort of like, people still just want the rawness?
It's not even just the sound, it's like just integral to the part of the culture of the music. It's amp worship.
Yeah.
At the same time,
wet yourself in a fanboy manner if Matt Pike turns up on the Orange stand at NAMM, as is rumoured to be happening.
Oh God,
I know.
I'm so excited. I'm going to be editing upstairs the whole time. I won't even see him.
I would never have seen you run so fast. Oz,
get out of the way! Get out of the way!
So we've got 5 amps. We'll go to those in a minute. It's your new guitar. Tell us what you've bought. This is Oz's own personal axe.
Yes, this is a Fender Professional 2 Telecaster. Simple as that.
Did tell you that was the only thing you were allowed to buy.
No. But to be fair, I've worked it for 3.5 years now, and Pete has slowly turned me on to the Telecaster. I walked into the shop last Saturday with the intention of buying either an SG or a Tele Custom. I saw this, picked it up, played it for 2 minutes, went, yup.
Fine.
Which is the best way to buy a guitar.
I love how guitars do that.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know in the first 2 minutes, then that's not the one.
I really like the wide range humbuckers. I think they're very underrated.
So it's all stock, you haven't changed anything?
I haven't changed anything, but what I have done is the first thing I did was stick a pack of 12s on it, and then put it in a horrible tuning.
What are you down to?
I think I'm in an A sharp standard.
Holy moly!
Very low.
We talked about Sun amplifiers.
Yes.
Sun have come back, haven't they? As in very small, something to do, I think, with Mike Eldridge, who's you might have heard of from his Fender days, heading up some sort of little, but really expensive still, boutique premium.
And we're yet to see how, for the people that have always been waiting for Sun amps, we're still kind of waiting to see whether it's going to replicate.
So what's the pedal designed to do?
So this pedal is just an Earthquaker Sun Live Pedal V3, and Sun is, yes, it's the same branding as the amp brand, but this is more a signature pedal for the band Sun.
I see.
Who, I don't know how that works, the licensing works, but they had the same logo and all that stuff for a while. But essentially this is a Rat. It's a really posh Rat pedal. But it has a very, very, very big clean boost in it.
Yep.
Has the fuzz circuit in it, and it also has a weird octave, but that's for droning stuff. But I felt that with the 3-stage pedal we have a good opportunity to test the amps clean. Say clean, but just without any pedals going in front of them. We have a clean boost to absolutely override the preamp with volume and see how it reacts to compression and stuff like that. And then we have fuzz, the absolute monumental Rat on 10, to just see how it reacts.
I love Doom guitar. I wouldn't say necessarily I listen to a lot of Doom music, but I like the sound of guitar in Doom. Other stuff here then, so we've got a 2x12 Soldano cab with vintage 30 Celestians in it. Pretty easy peasy. Most, loads and loads of brands will make a cab like that.
Yeah.
We have this clever Ampeat design, so instead of me having to unplug Oz each time, I'm just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it's noisy, that first one, isn't it?
Yeah.
This has been around for years and years and years, and it's the best straight-up attenuator that we've ever tried at Andertons. I've said that before. Bizarrely, this is out of stock probably 50% of the time I go and try to use one. But yeah, it's a reactive load attenuator. In my opinion, it's the one that retains the character of the amp loud as you begin to turn. Most other attenuators become more and more and more muffled the more you attenuate. I don't know how they've done this differently, but I think this is the best one. And actually what I didn't realise until today's demo, maybe this is a new feature they've added, I didn't realise it had a speaker emulated out on the back of it. So Oz and I might not even realise that that's what you're hearing, but when you do the edit, we may just click in some emulated output just so that you guys can get an idea of what this sounds like. But this, if you've got a loud valve amplifier that you need to make quieter and you can afford one because it's not cheap, Ironman 2 is, in my opinion, the best one. Loads of other cool features as well. Go look at that on the internet. But there we are. Shall we start, Mr. Oz?
Yes.
Subscribe! He said, the voice from Beyond said, please like and subscribe because every 10,000 new subscribers we give away pedals. When we get to 1 million, which won't be long now, one of you lucky million subscribers will be pulled out of a hat and we'll give away a real Klon. And if you're bored already, then there are timestamps below and you can find something later in the video that might make you less bored. Okay.
Are we doing it?
Let's do it. If you can explain in 20 seconds before we start each amplifier, why the JCM800?
JCM800, obviously Marshall aren't very synonymous with Doom and sludgy stuff, but JCM800 is famously used by Just O'Born from Electric Wizard, and maybe the other one's Electric Wizard as well. So we're just going to, I don't know. I'm just going to see how it sounds. That's
why, because Electric Wizard use one, so therefore it must be fine. It is, for whatever reason, the noisiest one.
Yeah. So I'm going to go without pedal first.
Do it.
Preamp boost?
Yeah.
Do it. Okay, interesting.
You wouldn't normally associate a JCM800 with having that much bass end.
No.
And I think relatively when you hear some other ones, it may still be less bassy, but the drop tuning on the guitar
makes it
hugely bassy.
Yeah. It's still very present though. There's still a lot of high-end
can you see
there.
where the settings are? Do we have a close-up cam, or would you like me to explain? You can see. Great.
Yeah, I've tried to kind of give them a I had them on for about like 5 seconds before and just quickly twiddled, just as a kind of generalised tone that I liked. With the JCM, it's very, very treble heavy, very, very present, so I wanted to back off the treble a little bit and up the bass.
You're not really gaining up any
not
of
too
them,
much.
are you?
No. It's a platform for you to which just pile on fuzzes and distortion. So I don't want to. We're not going for the full amp, modern gain thing. We're just going to try and layer up some filthy bassy fuzz.
Cool.
But yeah, Marshall's a weird one because it's very. Even though I rolled the treble off, it's still very trebly, still very present.
JCM800.
That's the thing, which is why I thought it's a weird thing to see Electric Wizard use these, but that's their sound, so I don't really know.
Are you going to load in all the buttons?
Let's do the fuzz and the. I'll do the fuzz first, and I'll put the octave in for some fun. But I'm going to go neck pickup. Cool.
I don't know anything about the technology behind, but what on earth is going on I don't believe any of this equipment when it was originally developed, and I'm talking, back in the probably the 40s or whenever it was. I don't think anybody ever went, that's the, we'll be overloading so much to create a guitar sound. But isn't it brilliant how we've
could you imagine showing a recording producer in the 50s that sound from a guitar and they would just shoot you?
Absolutely. Anyway, right. Laney, absolutely one of the kings of this genre.
Absolutely.
And again, listen to how much background noise there is on the Marshall versus the Laney's just
completely quiet. Yeah.
Because I guess there's just less gain already dialed in.
So the Laney is the only one without a master volume. So all the gain is all the crunch tone is going to come from having to crank it, which is the main reason we thought about having the Ironman in the first place. That's something to factor in as well. You're not going to be able to play small gigs really with the Laney.
Not unless you have
something like that, because if you're going to have quiet, you're not going to have any gain.
So the other 4 amps are all master volume,
yes, they've all got volumes. Yes. No.
So the MIG is not master volume either.
The MIG's not master volume
similar,
either.
But I think the Marshall, the Orange and the Hiwatt, you can drive the preamp and... Anyway.
Yes, sorry.
Anyway, come on, let's hear this.
All right. Way more low-end thump.
If we had a bassometer in here, it would literally be off the charts.
Yeah, right, I'm going to do preamp.
Do it!
Straight away, it's got that percussive thing that Laney just does really, really well for this kind of thing. All that bass end, but you still have the percussive thump of the pick hitting the string. That's almost like a great... It's awesome, I love that.
By the way, at the end of this video, I'm going to get Oz to look the other way and just start randomly choosing amps and then getting Oz to sort of tell me what his favourite one without the power of knowing which is which.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see which he picks, but at the moment I'm feeling like you're leaning you're feeling like the Laney is more Doom suited than the JCM800.
I think it's horses for courses. I think it depends what kind of sound you want, but that's why I love this stuff. I mean, all of these are probably going to sound really good for this.
I would imagine the JCM800 that Wizard is using, Electric Wizard is using, not Wizard, Electric Wizard, will be the 100-watt 2203 and maybe even more than one of them. So it will have more. Just more than the Studio 20-watt one, but anyway.
And that is also important to note that the wattage is a thing. I mean, typically all these bands are using very high wattage amps.
The 100-watt versions of all these sort of things.
It's not about the attack. It's not really. It's about the warmth you get from the volume, from the transformer, from all the tubes. So, this is an unusual thing to do with lower wattage amps, which is why we're doing this. We want to see how they cope. Right, fuzz. Yeah.
Yeah. The bloom is just such an interesting, you know, that initial, like, clearly what is happening, that initial thing, the amp's going, I can't cope with this. So here is this, like, and then like half a second later it just goes, okay, I got it. And it just, it's just a very different sound to like a high headroom clean attack.
Oh, of course,
type, you know.
And also the nuances of each amp, I think, are so much more prevalent when you put this much gain into them through fuzz. You hear the differences in the amp, you hear the differences in the compression and how it deals with that.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
Next.
MIG.
MIG.
We're MIGing.
Yeah, to be honest with you, again, I don't know an awful lot about these. Electro-Harmonix, obviously, I know about. You know, one of the most famous pedal manufacturers in the world. Josh from the JHS channel is a sort of uber fan of the original
Sovtek.
Sovtek amps, which I guess Electro-Harmonix own now the Sovtek valve factory, so I'm guessing the MIG 50 is some sort of repro of the old Sovtek MIG 50, but I've never tried one or heard one, so this is new for me.
Yeah, Josh also has a really, really great video comparing the new reissues by Electro-Harmonix with this logo on it compared to the old Sovtek ones, and it's really interesting. But I've never seen anyone actually use one of these Electro-Harmonix new ones for Doom, which I know the original Sovtek MIG in all its forms has been used in a lot of weird alternative music. I mean, a lot of noise rock and sludgy stuff.
Well, I think as well that would have been another brand that back in the day you'd have picked up mega cheap.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's hear it.
Okay.
A lot of things vibrating in this room here.
Really
now
bassy.
The ceiling's going to cave in.
Really bassy. Both of these were very, very bassy, but they've handled it very, very differently. There's a lot more vibration going on in the room. There's definitely frequencies there that are accentuated that this was not accentuating. Not to say it's better or worse, but just different character.
Why have you got the presence all the way up on that? Is it very dark without?
It's a little bit dark, isn't it? But the bass end is still so prevalent, so...
Doesn't make any difference, does it? I think it's just not designed to make a difference on a string tuned to A or whatever.
I'll just leave it in the middle.
All right, it was fine.
All right, let's put the preamp boost in. hoofing. It's hoofing bass end out. Should we fuzz it?
Please, fuzz it up. That sounded great.
I love that.
The minute your picking started to go more than maybe 1 per second picking, there's not enough recovery time in the amp's attack to really, so it loses all its definition.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, you can see if you were a modern metal player that wanted to play fast,
you would hate these amps. You would hate these amps.
This type of setup is like the worst thing. But I guess that's why you have high headroom, like 100 watt Mesa Boogie with a tube screamer type, because then the amp can respond. It can do the
that's
attack.
why I love this, because it's so intrinsically different to the typical world that we know in guitar, because it's a completely different use case scenario for these same amps. So where you might look at this and go, well, you know, it's not going to do a good clean tone, and it might not be crap. It might be crap for modern metal. There is a people that would like, this sounds awesome. This sounds well good.
I mean, what's always fun with all these kind of any valve amplifier that can have a clean tone out of it, you can play blues on with a Boss, you know, blues driver. But yeah, I do think for sort of the extreme genres, whether it would be metal or doom or whatever, you know, there's a very specific sort of, you know, you have to have a style of amp to really get the thing. Anyway, should we try number 4?
I'm really enjoying how they all have completely different characters so far, but we'll keep going.
I would say Laney and Orange are the two most synonymous.
They're the two most iconic
doom brands.
I think you know, between a lot of the, I mean, Laney obviously classically are the more iconic, because they were the ones that just because of Sabbath, I think that just universally makes them a cool amp. But Orange typically nowadays, and for the last for quite a long time, have been the go-to for a lot of sludgy, doomy stoner bands. You go to I went to Arctangent Festival last year. I know Dan Steinhardt has also been there, and pretty much all the backline you'll see will be Orange amps. Everyone has Orange amps.
Fair play to Orange.
So they got their thing, and they got the sound, and like I say, it's a unique sound. And in the metal world, it's you have to want that sound, because it's not going to sound like a Mesa, and it's not going to sound like a 5150. And for most people, that sound is preferable. But in this world, this is the
This is man.
yeah. Okay.
It's the gainiest. Well, it's at least as gainy as the Marshall, albeit in a different way. But it's more gainy than the other two, isn't it? With no pedals on it.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, tonally as well, it's definitely more similar to the Marshall than the other two. We're running this right now on maximum volume.
Okay.
With a gain about 4 out of 10. The reason being, I mean, we all know with Orange amps, the volume and the gain are kind of they have to work in tandem a bit.
Yeah.
I don't really want to be shoving tons of gain out of the preamp, so I've had to kind of just ram the volume on full and turn the gain down a bit.
If you just use the clean channel, is that better?
The clean time? But then with that, it won't react. It will react completely differently to the. You know, if I was stacking 10 distortion pedals with a level that I had in mind.
Yeah.
But
it does. I know what you mean. It does feel like
quieter.
The other 4 amps have got more to give, and the orange is flat out already. But
I wish it was a bit louder, but I think the tone's interesting. I think the tone's surprisingly similar to the Marshall, I think, actually. I'd be curious to swap between those later, but yeah. Let's do the sleep test.
I just basically, we've got the attenuator set to knock, where are we on, about 7 dB off the sound of all these amps, but I just switched it off basically for the orange. But it's worth noting that it would appear to be a little quieter. I think it's also just, sounds more modern to me than the other. Than the other amps. Maybe that's just the TH30 as opposed to...
It's quite sleep. It's hard to...
Is it?
It's knowing the sound in my head, like that's the most satisfied I've been from. That's just preamp gain. There's no fuzz or distortion going into that. That's
just with the clean
boost.
Right. Okay.
So the fact that it got that gnarly from the clean boost is pretty cool. But I like it didn't get flubby.
Yeah.
It's more metallic.
Yeah.
That sounded more metallic.
I think it's like. It's the flubbiness is what I like about the other ones. So that's why when I say it sounds more modern, maybe that's what I'm hearing.
Well, that's why Matt Pike has 3 high, the 100-watt heads, and he also has 3 smaller watt heads because he likes the attack and the metallic stuff from the smaller ones, but wants the warmth of the power. But that chugs, man. I mean, that plays with just the preamp.
You can completely hear it. It's not. It's coping with the faster. It's got more attack.
Better than the others.
Yeah.
All right, and then we'll just fuzz it. With the fuzz and even just the clean boost, that's closest to the sound that I remember.
You can tell from your facial expressions and your body language that's the one that you're into the most. Interesting. Okay, let's do the last one. So I mean, Hiwatt obviously we all know and love, but from bands from the 60s and 70s. But who would be doom synonymous with Hiwatt, if anyone?
Well, I know there's Elder, which is not a band I'm not massively familiar with, but I know they're all signed to Hiwatt. But also Matt Pike's bassist, Jeff Matz in High on Fire. Matt Pike himself actually might have had a Hiwatt at some point, but I know Jeff Matz is probably the most. That's the one that I think of when I think of Hiwatt. Like the MIG, kind of synonymous, not just with the Doom thing, but a lot of alternative music. People just don't want a Marshall or a Fender or a Vox or anything like that. They want something that's big, loud, and a bit weird. Yeah.
So T-Series is a slightly more modern take on perhaps some of those very clean, super high headroom amplifiers that people like David Gilmour perhaps would have been synonymous with. So it is a bit more of an all-rounder. It's got a bit more gain in it than one of those amps, but it's highly affordable, 40 watts, and sounds great as well.
Yeah.
So, by the way, if you're interested in finding out more about any of these 5 amplifiers, I think possibly with the exception of the MIG 50, there will be just Andertons, normal reviews on each of these, which you'll be able to find on our YouTube channel. And you would have seen already had you subscribed and hit that notification bell, because obviously you know about that already.
You better. Let's give it a go. Really nice percussive nature to it.
Yep, it's good sound. That's no pedal. That's just straight in.
That's my favourite sound without any pedals so far.
Interesting.
Pedals so far. So that's pretty cool. That's quite different to the others. I think especially after coming after the orange, which was very, very metallic when we loaded up the preamp game.
I'm going to do, when we finish this little segment here, I'm going to get you to just do that arpeggiated sort of A chord type thing. And we'll just switch through without you stopping, and then people can get a real back-to-back, and then you will see what did you like the best. Anyway, go on, stick some more pedal stuff in it.
Let's just do, I want to do that fast riff again, because like you say, it showed a lot about the compression, so I'll try that. Definitely the darkest, so it lost a lot of the presence with the more fuzz that went into it, which is interesting.
Let's do 3 rounds then, all right?
Okay.
So one with no pedals, one with just a clean boost on it, and one with all fuzz. 3 in, and we'll just do like 10 seconds on each one.
Okay.
And I don't know, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm just going to go 1 to 5. So start with that arpeggiated kind of...
Okay, got it.
I surprised myself there.
Yeah, me too. I really liked the Hiwatt, but I also kind of liked the JCM a little bit.
That's why I went back to it.
Yeah.
Right at the end, because I really liked it. I got all the way through to the end, and I was going, I think I like the Marshall one the best. So I just went back to it to sort of reaffirm.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I think I do.
Yeah.
Which is like,
it's a weird one. Because at first I was a bit conflicted between these two, because I love the bass end you get out of the MIG, but I think Hiwatt has the overall better tone.
You were on a bridge pickup with the tone up full, because the Laney and the Electro-Harmonix was so dark.
Yeah.
Okay, same again, but we'd like play a different riff, but with the preamp boost. Didn't go back to number one there, just went 1 to 5 through.
Yeah.
I know which one I liked the best, although it's not as, it's closer.
I think I like the Laney the best.
Me too.
We all in agreement with that? It sounded thick, didn't it?
It did. The brightness came back with the preamp boost, but I think it just did the classic old Laney thing, like
Sabbathy thing.
Yeah.
Man. Weird.
Yeah, I liked it. So we're going no pedals, Marshall, volume boost into it, Laney.
Yes.
Okay, turn them all on.
So
we'll
full
do this
ass
full
fuzz.
lunatic. It's almost like that kind of synthy, soundy guitar stuff.
Yeah, that's.
I like that hammer on. I'm sure that's the Ming the Merciless thing that you'll have to spend hours looking for.
Yeah,
you have to watch the whole film to then go, no, there's no music like that in that film.
Right,
but it's a great film. So.
I'll play that then. I'll play that sleep riff.
Okay.
We'll do that. Okay.
I sense there may be a difference of opinion here, so I'm going to count 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to say the one we like the best. Ready? You're included as well, Taylor. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
MIG.
Laney. Me and Tate went Laney. You went MIG.
Between the Laney, the Hiwatt, and the MIG, I was struggling.
What did you go, Pete?
Pete.
Laney. You went Laney as well, right? But I mean, really, all that matters is what you liked, or particularly what you liked, Oz. But okay, look.
I think we should, like you said earlier about when you have the faster picking.
Okay,
things,
you want to do one last one, do you?
I think I'll try and do some Conan.
I am also giving Orange the benefit of the. I'm turning off the attenuator here when we're because it just isn't as loud as the other 4 on these settings.
I tried to move the shape knob a little bit for that one because it's like because you have that lack of EQ like you have on the other amps, so you only have one knob to play with. And it seems to be basically a scoop switch, a scoop dial. So.
Scoopity scoop, scoopity scoop. Okay, let's go. One winner here, isn't there? 3, 2, 1. Laney.
Laney or MIG. They're both good. They both sounded good. I can't separate them in my head.
It's got the thing.
Laney's got the thump, but that also has a thing to it.
Anyway, never has Doom genre music been broken down to this granular levels of scientific comparison. But anyway, so we're going to stay with the Laney for the last little bit while I demonstrate the Ironman. All that matters is which one you liked. Maybe you didn't like any of them. Maybe you're literally smashing your head against a wall and ripping your ear canals. What are they called?
That's what Pete's doing in there.
He's absolutely, literally filling them up with super glue, going, "Can I stop this terrible music?"
Yeah.
But
it's free content.
I liked it. Oh, exactly, Tate. No need to get defensive, but you're right. It's free. You could just go and watch something else.
Can I just ask you, which one do you think looks the best? With this kind of thing, there is a fear factor that needs to be had.
I'll tell you which one looks the worst. That one.
With the logo on it. The
whole thing.
With the Sovtech logo on it, this is a scary looking amp.
The other, this would look cooler if it was bigger.
Yeah.
And of course, the 100 watt one is.
Because we all know what the big one looks like, so that's like a baby. It's cute.
The other 4 look super cool. The other 4 look badass.
Yeah.
You like the Hiwatt, yeah?
The Hiwatt.
It's because you're a massive Oasis fan. Noel, please can we have some free tickets?
No!
Can we agree then that collectively the Laney got the most votes here? So I do just want to show you. Pile it all in.
Go on.
I'll just show you the very, very quick whiz of Ironman, and I'm interested to hear what what the emulated output sounds like. It might sound like ass.
And the Laney might have won, but it did need the attenuation to get that sound. Worth remembering that.
So what I'm going to do, I'm literally going to go. This is where you've been hearing it the whole way through with this like minus 7 dB. I'm going to literally switch it off first, so by going to maximum, and then I'm going to go down to its quietest mode, and we'll cut in some of what the emulated output. But what a really good attenuator should do is all the high frequency and clarity that we're getting with no attenuation should be retained as we take it down, if it's being amazing. But like I said before, a lot of attenuators will start to hear it sounds like this. Anyway, here we go. This is what you've been hearing. Just for context, I can talk over this. And for context, I can whisper over this.
Yes.
It does lose a small amount of high frequency, I think, after maybe once you're down to like the 4th position.
Yeah.
The first 2 positions of attenuation are really effective at reducing the volume and not really changing the tone. Once you're down to this, what are we at now, minus 15 dB, it is getting a little muffled, but it's really good.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Oz, for your Doom expertise. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching, and we'll see you in another video where normal service and Dad Rock Blues will resume.
Party on, Wayne.
Goodbye.